Toei's recent live-action TV drama isn't the first time I've come across the Wingman IP. I watched a bit of the 80s anime, like, years ago, because, well, it looked to be a superhero show crossed with a rom-com, and hey, I liked love after world domination. I'm currently slowly working through the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be enemies. And while I have you here, dear viewer, may I also interest you in some can unpopular magical girls also date? A cheeky little will they won't they between the titular magical girl and the Red Ranger from the next town over. Ooh, scandalous. My point is, this sort of fluff is exactly my jam, but unfortunately the Wingman anime didn't really do it for me, so I ended up dropping it some ways in. But hey, the live action is directed by tokusatsu veteran Koichi Sakamoto, so it's probably worth checking out for the action alone, and yeah, this adaptation is far more my speed. Literally, as in this take on the 1983 manga is paced much closer to my personal preferences. Though, interestingly, it feels both faster and slower paced than most conventional tokusatsu. It takes 3 half-hour episodes for the show to fully set up the premise and the status quo. But because the series only has 10 episodes, the status quo can't actually stick around. Stuff has to move along at a faster pace, and stuff does. Such as Wingman getting his first upgrade at merely episode 3. A fact that is lampshaded by his alter ego, Kenta Hirono. Kenta's great, a freaking dork this one, instantly endearing if you're into his character archetype. The story's premise is that he's a tokusatsu superhero nerd who has obviously designed his own original Toku hero, and due to extenuating fantastical circumstances that fall into his lap, he gets to be his own superhero. As an added bonus, due to Wingman also being produced by Toei, Kenta gets to reference and geek out over other IPs that Toei's worked on, like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. Kenta's dynamic with the show's other lead, Aoi Yume, is your fairly standard, well, this ain't ideal, but we'll have to work together given the circumstances dealio. It's nothing special, but oddly refreshing, as I get the inkling that in a more modern story, Aoi's characterization would have leaned closer to a tsundere who periodically butts heads with her co-lead. But here, she's rolling with the punches, and is arguably more proactive at superheroics than the titular Wingman. However, heroes are only as good as the opposition they face, and one such obstacle is the mysterious new teacher Kitamura, played by Mamoru Miyano. Yeah, that Mamoru Miyano. Despite only being given what is listed as a supporting role, the man is somehow just as animated in the flesh as he is doing vocal anime work. Like, what? Though, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, seeing as how Miyano apparently also plays freaking Dio Brando in the JoJo's musical. Verbose anime villains from the 80s are well within his acting range, it seems. As someone who already enjoys the Toku superhero genre, the show is a pretty breezy watch, but Miyano chews the scenery to an extent that it kind of brings up the surrounding material by association. It's great, almost worth the watch for him alone, to be honest. It helps that, while the show lampshades elements of its genre, it's not tongue-in-cheek about it. It's very much a celebration of the tokusatsu medium. The ham and the cheese is very earnest, so in spite of being a modern interpretation of an older story, Wingman doesn't feel like a reinvention. All that said, unfortunately, the initial hook that got me to watch the show never really pays off. Wingman's action is good, but it feels a bit middling. Not really faulting the show for that, it might be personal bias, as Wingman also has the horrid luck of having aired alongside Kamen Rider Ga, Bakuake Sentai Boon Boonjer, and Ultraman Arc. The action set pieces in all three are pretty stellar, and they get to be more stylized to boot. I didn't enjoy Wingman as much as its contemporary competition, but the time investment I put into watching it is also comparatively low. 10 24-minute episodes puts it at just about 4 hours of runtime. And let's just put it this way, I've watched longer series that I've enjoyed less relative to the amount of time I've put in. Wingman's not amazing, but it's a fairly standard story told reasonably well, and sometimes you're just kind of in the mood for that sort of thing, you know?